Welcome to the Sober Stretch podcast, the podcast for anyone with a problematic, complicated relationship with alcohol, whether your weekend offending's getting out of control and you don't know what to do about it or how to even begin to get sober. We are the podcast for you. My name's Gary. I'm 10 years sober and my friend here, Craig, is 2. Hello, how are you, mate? You all right?
Yeah, really good, mate. Really good. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right. I'm feeling like positive because I saw the flowers that we don't know the name of, the snowdroppies, the bell snows. I saw some of them blooming the other day. The nights are getting lighter. I'm feeling fucking pumped up for the spring and summer. I'm good. Yeah, I'm all right. What have you been up to?
Mate, I can't wait for summer. I can't wait for spring. I can't wait for it not to be under 10 degrees, to be honest with you. I'm buzzing for that.
I always find the end of February, I'm starting to get energized for the because the end of February is the start of the good times.
Yeah.
Because March has potential. Remember that COVID year, March? I wasn't here, I was in Spain, but everyone tells me that it was boiling hot in March. So there is. We could be imminently expecting a heat wave. That's how positive I am today.
Yeah, nice. Good. I'm cold. I've got to run 30k later or straight after this. So I think that's in the back of my mind a little bit, knowing that I've got to go through fucking torture. But
Wow.
it's all good. I'm not hanging, do you know what I mean? I'm not fucking suicidal. So yeah, I'm
Nice
all
way
right,
to
bro.
start the day.
Yeah, exactly.
30k though, like how many miles is that?
17 maybe.
Fucking hell. I get overwhelmed by a 17-mile drive at the moment. I'm like, ugh.
Maybe 16, maybe 15, somewhere around there.
Right. That's impressive.
Yeah, mate, tough. But I just need to do this marathon and then I can slow down. You know.
Well, it's nice to have something to work towards, isn't it? Always,
Yeah,
in all areas of your life, you need like a
Yeah.
target, goals, and a
Yeah.
structured way to achieve them and get there.
Yeah. Nah, mate. As soon as I don't have like a target or I don't have goals, I find that I'm quite flat, and then I start thinking, oh, what's the point? So for me to have a goal, like you said, in every area is very fucking important. Definitely.
Yeah, it's quite easy to let like one area of your life slide, isn't it?
Yeah. And like if you fully focus on running and you're not thinking about work or nothing, you've got no money. We're a bit fucked, aren't we?
Yeah, but I ran 20k.
But you ain't eaten in 6 weeks.
Do you know what though? It's mad, isn't it? Like alcohol and alcoholism basically guarantees that every area of your life slides, doesn't it?
Yeah.
You know, because I'm long-term sober and I've got various elements of my life in check, but there's still areas where I've got to work hard and improve on. But when you're drinking, if I had to categorize all my sections of my life,
Oh man.
every one of them was wrecked. Every one of them I was behind on. Every one of them I'd kind of lost control of.
Yeah.
And just that, you know, you're kind of trying to climb up a rock face in the rain with no harness. It's fucked.
Which is why, which is another reason why I think it hooks so many people as well, because the thought of, because if you stop drinking, you've got to deal with all that stuff because there's nothing to, because you can't use alcohol to hide away from it. So I feel like a lot of people are like me personally. I was like, yeah, fuck even bothering with any of that. I'm just going to carry on sinking.
Yeah, I hard relate to that. It's funny, actually. Shameless plug, but I released my first edition of the SoberNSound newsletter this morning, and it was about acceptance. I thought it was a good place to start because if you can't accept it, you might as well just carry on drinking until you're dead. And you just get into that mindset where it's easier to go. It's the easy route, isn't it? We've said it before. Like, oh well, the path of least resistance unfortunately means I'll probably die young and have a shit life, but it's the least resistance, so fuck it. Let's not do anything about it. And you're right. The fact accepting you've got a problem means the next day or later that day, you have to start doing something about it. And I think a lot of people either can't be arsed or don't know where to start. Yeah, it's ugly.
It's so true, man. Like acceptance is the start, mate. Like I know everyone says that, like about the first sign of addiction's denial, and you just brush it off because it sounds so fucking generic. But when I accepted it, it opened up so many avenues because there was nothing to hide from and nothing to be scared. Like I weren't scared about anything to do with it. It was just like, okay, cool. So now I actually know what the problem is in my entire life. And once
Yeah,
you know, it's nice, isn't it? Stop fucking beating around the bush. Just accept it. It's not a problem. It's not the end of the world. Alcohol don't agree with you. Accept it, and then do something about it. As soon as you accept it, and then you can start working towards sorting it out. You know.
yeah,
Um.
yeah. It's definitely the first step, and it initiates momentum. But there cannot be any momentum without that acceptance, because
No.
it's one thing knowing, and then one thing accepting and admitting to yourself. It's strange, honest to God. The day I accepted it was quite literally, properly accepted it was the last day I drank. The next day, when I just like succumbed to the reality,
Yeah.
just the floodgates opened, and all, like you say, all these avenues opened, and
Yeah.
I had no idea how long the avenue was. I had no idea how difficult it would be to get down the avenue, but at least it was open to me.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. It's just I was just thinking then when you were saying that as well. Fucking ADHD mind. I was I was thinking when someone said to me they think I've got a problem for the first time, and I found it fucking hilarious. I was like, "What are you on about? What are you on about? What, you actually think I've got a problem? Are you serious?" Yeah, mate, you drink in the morning before works. I think so.
We've all seen the can of Stella in the filing cabinet, Craig.
Yeah. Yeah, mate. Oh, the days, the fucking days. Um, but today we are. The intro's getting long. Today we're going to talk about the ego around the drinking culture, and we agreed that we feel like it is something that really hooks men into prolonged drinking. Not just men, women as well. 100%. I know what it's like when when girls go out for their brunches and stuff like that. Like we forget the drinking culture in girls is fucking massive as well, isn't it? You know, you see them on Instagram doing these brunches and shit like that. That's fucking heavy, man. They start at like 11. It's heavy, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? But I think a lot of us just associate the ego around drinking being the lads, fucking, yeah, football, rugby, blah, 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 kick the fuck out of someone, I'm hard as fuck. But it's girls as well, isn't it? Like, with like these fucking brunches and going to the races and all that shit, you know?
Yeah, it's just wild binge drinking, isn't it? It's
Yeah,
wild binge drinking, and I think the ego attached to alcohol and just the ego in general is the intro is pertinent because acceptance kind of is the start of the destruction of your ego. Because if you're going to get sober and you're going to do it properly, you have to be self-critical and have a proper good look at yourself. And at some point, you have to accept that your ego has been so big. It's been like the all-powerful force in your life. And when you strip that away, you're left with like a little fucking kitten, really, aren't you? And then you can grow into a fucking lion. So I reckon the two are intrinsically linked. You have to accept to be able to destroy the ego which keeps you drinking.
yeah. And that, and that, and to get rid of that, you also have to not give a fuck about what anyone else thinks of you. Because external influences, mate, are huge. They're what's keeping your ego going. Do you know what I mean? How many people loved the old Gary? Not actually loved you, but enjoyed spending time with you because you was a fucking twat, and they fed your ego.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
I'm not saying that's the only reason why you done it, and the only reason why I kept drinking, but when someone said something like, "Oh, Gary, you were a nightmare last night," and you were pissed again, yeah, that's all that's doing is feeding your ego. Do you know what I mean? Like, you're getting a bit of a buzz out of it because you're fucking Jack the Lad again, when really you fucking hate who you are because you're nothing like that, and you're hiding from the person that you truly are. You know. So I think you have to not give a fuck about what anyone thinks. Loads of people are going to say, "Oh, what are you doing that for? What are you fucking not drinking for? Why drinking Pepsi in a pub? Blah blah blah." Because I
Yeah.
don't want to be like you, Pratt.
And all those questions that you get in the pub, they are ego driven, aren't they? From the person that's asking them, because they've got a drinking expectation of you, and if you don't meet that,
Yeah.
you're a pussy, or you're soft, or you're weak. So everybody's ego is feeding each other's ego.
Yeah, mate. It's so funny that It's so funny, mate, that you're a pussy for not drinking, isn't it? Like, oh man, honestly, genuinely not against people having a drink and that. Genuinely ain't. Like I said time and time again, all my pals drink, but it's so funny that we live in a world where you're actually a pussy for trying to help yourself and get over the addiction.
Yeah.
Do you know how bad? On a serious one, how bad is life when you're an alcoholic? Seriously, how bad is it?
Well, I'd like to say it's as bad as it can be, but I would say probably being a heroin addict under a bridge is worse. But like wherever you are in your life, if you are an alcoholic, it is it's a shite version of what your life could be, isn't it? It's a fucking
Yeah,
shit version of the
yeah.
potential life that's waiting for you if you drop the ego, if you
So,
accept. And those questions in the pub that you get from all your mates, those are the questions that you should answer privately. Like, why are you not drinking? You should be able to answer them privately and know that your answer is the right answer. Because there's not a lot you can say in the pub. Oh, I'm drinking because I want to get fit. Oh, you want to get fit? What, are you going to run the marathon? Like, you need to be concentrating on the answers to those questions privately.
mate, and these guys saying that, yeah, or these girls saying that, if you caught them sober on a fucking Monday morning, their reaction would not be that. They would be feeling rough as fuck, tired, withdrawing, and they'd be like, "Don't know how you can do that, mate. That's fucking impressive." Yeah, you weren't saying that on Friday night though, was you? When you fucking giving it the big one, when I had to fucking put up with your bullshit. But now I'm right as rain on Monday morning. Um,
So, what is it about the ego that on a Monday morning, when your ego's taking a hammer in and you feel like a kitten and you're lying in the fetal position and you don't want to face anything, the ego's so powerful that a few days later you're back at it again?
yeah.
Is that not what it is? Is that not what's driving all the kind of
Well,
negative forces in your life?
well, yeah, because I'm not being funny, mate, but if you had the choice, yeah, of being this fucking sorry, swear so irrelevantly, but if you had the choice of being this Jack the Lad, fearless, brave man, chatting to all the woman, giving it this and that and the other, funny, confident. You got that person, yeah. Then you've got the Monday morning person who is an absolute shell of a man, like you said, kitten, weak as piss, can't look at anyone in the eye. You're gonna choose to go straight back to that fucking geezer that doesn't exist,
Yeah.
in as soon as you possibly can, because it's a better. I mean, you think it's a better person. Oh
Is there
man.
it's the easier option mentally, isn't it, to just slide back into the Friday night person, the Saturday day drinking person. It's just, again, it's the path of least resistance. So it's not that you maybe want to go back there, but like your ego takes you there because it's the only part of the week where you feel confident and gregarious and,
Yeah.
like you attract. If you're in that right frame of mind with the right amount of drinking, you attract people and you attract like energy, don't you? But then all that dies off and fades away on Sunday night, Monday morning, and you're just left with, then it's that perpetual cycle. Ego, ego, ego. Ego takes a beating, but you don't actually do anything with the beating fallout, and then you just go back to it again. It's bad.
And that person with that ego is not even real.
Mm.
It's just fueled by something that runs out eventually, and you have to keep paying to top it up.
Yeah, paying in so many ways.
Yeah, not just financially.
Nah.
Your health, your mental health.
Yeah, but spiritually as well, like your soul gets damaged with that kind of stuff, doesn't it? So
And then you lose yourself, don't you? Completely.
Yeah.
But do you know what it is? Yeah, like I say this all the time, and I shouldn't feel the need to say it so much, but I genuinely have nothing against people that drink or alcohol. It's not like I fucking detest alcohol and I'm like it should be banned, blah blah blah. I'm not that guy. But one thing that I cannot deal with is, all right, so you're a pussy. You're a pussy because you are sick of feeling awful and you want more from your life. You're so sick of it, and you will do anything that you possibly can to not have these horrible thoughts on a Sunday night. So you decide not to drink, and you go Monday to Thursday, struggling with mad withdrawals, doing everything you possibly can to resist drinking because you know you need to go through hell and back to feel better. To then get to a Friday night, you want to socialise with your friends, but you're not accepted because you're not drinking, and you're, oh mate, it just kills me off, mate. I just can't get my nut around it. I'm like a pussy now because you're trying to better yourself. Is that the world that we live in? Fuck
Well,
me.
the world we live in is the negative projection of others onto those that are trying to improve themselves, and it's others' problems that, in some way, that prevent you from dealing with your own.
Exactly, yeah.
So, how are you if you're 27, a young lad, girl, whatever? But I think maybe the peer pressure for drinking, obviously, around lads is a bit more intense. I might be wrong. If I'm wrong, correct me, ladies. But I reckon that is some, the banter and the goading and the piss taking.
Yeah.
That's a really difficult hurdle. If at
That's a
27,
challenge, yeah.
yeah, mate, it's no joke. And there's two ways of looking at that. The people that are in pain, are projecting, are not trying to improve themselves, are
Yeah.
are in part wrecking your life.
Yeah. 100%. And I think for people listening, a good way to look at that is don't react. Obviously, I mean, say what you want to say, but deep down, just remember that person really is not happy. That person is insecure, and he wants you to drink, and he's calling you a wimp, a girl, a pussy, not a man, because he's really unhappy himself, and it's making him have to think about his own life choices. No one wants to do that. It's uncomfortable. I don't think people will look at someone who's gone sober or was going sober or choose not to drink. they look at them and think, "Oh, so you think you're better than me, then, do you?"
Yeah, that's
No,
mental.
yeah, no, I do not think I'm better than you. I just don't want to feel like shit anymore. Is that all right with you?
And by the way, I have not even factored your opinion or your life into my decision of improving myself one little bit. So
No,
why are you bringing it up now? You were not a consideration in my desire to improve myself.
no,
And now your
no,
fucking arsehole comment is starting to chip away at at the mental momentum I've built up in the last 3 or 4 days. But
I know,
also,
yeah,
if you're trying to quit drinking to relinquish your ego and strip it back, what the fuck are you doing in the pub with all these knobheads anyway? Because
yeah,
we have to get into the idea of how to calm your ego, maybe destroy it, obliterate it, so you can move forward. So one of those things is not to be around negative people, and if that means not being around many people for a long time, that's what it is. Because if you've accepted it, that's initiated some kind of reaction. Oh no, I don't. I'm not going to accept it because that means I have to do something about it tomorrow. Oh, I've accepted it, so I'm going to do something about it tomorrow. But what do I have to do tomorrow? Well, one of the things is do not go into that pub. Because your mind is instantly getting polluted. You've done that. You've
yeah,
accepted it now.
yeah,
So it's time to. This is, and I know that's true
yeah.
because I speak from experience. I've said it a million times before, but for anyone new or for anyone that's forgotten, 2 fucking years I didn't go out for. People go, "Oh, how did you do it, Gary?" 2 years. I didn't go out for 2 years. Oh, you look so happy and sober, and look, you and Craig are helping others. Yeah, I know, because we didn't go out for a long time. We didn't surround ourselves with temptation and people struggling, projecting onto us. So it's like big decisions are what
A lot
make.
of a lot of sacrifices in two
Yeah,
years, weren't there?
yeah.
A lot of sacrifices. Um, a lot of things that you would love to have done, but you had to say no to because of the bigger picture and the end result. Um, yeah, it's just wild. You're gonna have to say no to loads of texts. You're gonna feel like a bit of an outcast in the group chat. But the oh mate, the for the sake of being a pussy, yeah, and I'm trying to think what else you could get called, but for the sake of being this not geezer, not one of the lads, fucking sign me up all day because fuck going back where I was.
Like, what shape is your ego in at the moment? Because I've got an ego that, that even as a sober person
Yeah,
exists. That's why I had to do
yeah,
SoberNSound. That's why I wanted to be in a band.
yeah,
Partly to share my story and to tell her the world about me. I've got an ego. I admit that, but I've definitely tempered the arsehole side of my ego with
yeah, yeah,
sobriety.
yeah,
And it's a
yeah.
big wake up call, isn't it? About
Oh,
how much of a prick you can be.
yeah, mate. Everyone has an ego. Everyone has an ego.
Tell me about
Everyone will,
yours.
mate. Everyone will look at themselves in the mirror one day after buying a new shirt and think, "I look the fucking dog's bollocks tonight." It's standard, but it's nice, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? Like you're allowed to have a bit of an ego. Um, mate, I've got an ego. From but it's purely because I'm so happy that I can do things now that I never thought I'd be able to do again. You know.
Mm. Hmm.
Um. So I mean, everything on social media is ego driven, man. Like fucking Strava, mate. Like tracking your
Oh my
runs and
god.
that. Who runs? How quick was your run and all stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah.
It's pure, mate. It's pure ego, isn't it? It's what keeps people in. And I'm a competitive person. I always have been. Literally played football since I was 3 years old. I've always wanted to win. But definitely since drinking, like since being sober, it's all with good intentions. I don't really compare to anyone else anymore. I know that because of the state that I was in, like literally in a halfway house, fucking homeless basically. I don't need to compare myself to anyone else. You know, it's just about being better than what I was. So your ego is in a much better state.
Yeah, I think the comparison to others fuels the ego, doesn't it? Or fuels the need to behave in a way that is similar to others.
Yeah.
But I think when you accept that you're an alcoholic and you get sober, all the other parts of your life, like comparing yourself to others or loving yourself, you do it in the right way.
Yeah.
You know, it's like an alcoholic's ego then becomes a sober person. It's not about ego; it's a bit more about self-respect.
Mm-hmm.
So you like
But mate,
focus.
you're allowed. You're allowed. You're allowed. I'm not being funny. Your life was down the fucking pan, mate. I guarantee. Yeah. Your life. It was though. I guarantee you used to batter yourself with negative comments from Monday to Thursday. I guarantee there was no positive affirmations in your life whatsoever. I guarantee you were the most self-destructive person one of the most self-destructive people around. Exactly the same as me. I know that because I was like it, and funnily enough, we both had a drink problem. So why are you now not allowed to be proud of yourself?
Hmm.
You know what I was thinking the other day? This is deep as fuck. I've just thought about it. I was running, shock, boring bastard. I was running and I was thinking like about how short life is. I'm actually deep as fuck. But I was thinking how short life is, and I was also thinking about how long people are remembered for, like after they die. And the reality is we're all gonna die and we're all gonna be forgotten. Yeah. Sometimes you'll have that moment where you see a family member for the first time in ages. Yeah, and you're like you're asking questions about their family. People's memories of you, yeah. Say for example you're dead. You've been dead fucking 30, 40, 50 years, yeah. People are going to talk about you as someone that overcame addiction. They completely changed their life around. Your kids will be proud to tell the story of you instead of how it could have been, man. Like it could have just been he was a waster. He was a waster. Spent his whole life down the pub, didn't do fuck all with us. He was a bit of an arsehole. All he cared about was the drink. But you turned it around because you made that fucking choice. So people are only gonna really have good things to say about you, and what an amazing life you made of a bleak situation.
Yeah, it's like well, have you seen the film Coco, the Disney film, the
No,
Mexican one?
no.
There's like the what is it? The three deaths. The Mexican three deaths is like the day you die, the day you're buried, and your final death, which is this is intense. The last time anyone ever mentions your name. So maybe in 9 generations, you actually become forgotten, and nobody ever once again mentions your name. That's fucking heavy, you know. But personally, my ego meant as a drinker there was so much negative self-talk because I was so determined to do something good. So was that battle was horrifying for me. So like you said, the way I talked to myself was gross. It was horrible. Just never said anything nice about myself. But
It's so sad, man.
it's awful, you know, like tragic. But that for me, well, certainly in my life, the desire to leave a legacy, even before I had kids, was something really important to me.
Yeah.
But again, if you get sober, it's more about self-respect and legacy as opposed to feeding your ego and massaging your cock. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, because your
Yeah.
ego only, like, look at me, only comes out when you've had 11 pints of Stella and
I
4
know.
gins.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
back to bed and weak as a kitten.
Yeah. And I can imagine that from you as well. Like I can imagine that from you being being into Liam Gallagher, Oasis, and like I bet you're a loud bastard down the pub. Do you know what I mean?
Mate,
I
you
bet you was a loud
honestly
and
loudest cunt in every room.
and how I feel like I know exactly how you was. I guarantee because there's types of there's probably so many different types of an alcoholic, yeah, or addicts in general, and your whole life was a lie, mate. Like giving it the big one, this, that, and the other, and then you're going to teach kids like being an absolute shell of a man, like quivering, wondering when you're going to be able to have your next drink, blah blah blah. You're not this. That person on Friday night does not even nearly exist. Not even nearly.
Do you know what? When I'll tell you a funny story. When I lived in Spain, I went away to Gandia, which is near Valencia, for the weekend, and that's like a. Remember Geordie Shore?
Yeah.
Well, they did a Spanish version, and it was called Gandia Shore. It was there, so it's like a bit of a chav town. And we went there for the weekend, and we went on the Saturday morning, and I didn't get back till like 2 a.m. on a Monday. And like the bar bill for 4 of us, it was ridiculous. We brought it in on the Monday, and we showed our university students the bar bill, and they were like, "Eh?" And our only explanation was, "We're British." Like, they couldn't get their heads around it. So, as I've said before, it was a weekly immersion course, so new students every week. So on this Monday morning, I went to work, and I was still like high level arsehole when I got to work. And I'm walking into this new classroom with 6 students I've never met before. They're all like 21, scared as fuck about this, week ahead. And I walked in, and there was a chair right next, an unused chair right next to the table, and I was battered. And I walked in, took one step onto the chair, one onto the table, and stinking of rum, and I just sang "Flower of Scotland," the Scottish national anthem. I swear, as long as I live, on my mother's life, this is true. And I just walked on, "Oh, flower of Scotland," and they were like, "Who the fuck is this guy?" I'll never forget it. And I remember going for a piss, maybe in the break, and I was going into the bathroom, and I was rubbing my forehead, and I was rubbing underneath my eyes, because I was having a panic attack. Basically, I was having a meltdown. So they saw this larger than life,
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
stage
yeah, yeah.
stage performer walk in, and then 15 minutes later, I'm rubbing the skin off my forehead because I'm having a meltdown.
The withdrawals are
Oh,
in.
the shakes, the sweats, the nerve, the rattling, and
That was
that was
when you
like,
needed a drink just to top
oh,
yourself up, and you could have been that person again.
I needed a drink to get sober. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
a leveler to just take the edge off. I was so pissed still, and I needed something to get myself sober, which was a drink. And I used to sneak downstairs and drink in the bar while the other teachers weren't looking, and the coordinators and stuff. But that's the juxtaposition of my life. It was, oh wow,
Man,
he's amazing! What a character! This guy's going to be great this week. But Monday,
yeah. It's
Monday at
all
five
fake.
past six, I'm in the bar just shaking and vibrating.
It's all fake, man.
Fake, fake,
Like,
fake, ego-driven bollocks.
that for me, that was the worst feeling when the booze started wearing off and reality was creeping in, and you're like, "What the fuck is going on? I'm losing my mind." And that was by far the worst ever feeling. When that feeling started coming, that is when I would just neck a drink.
Same here, and like every time,
Yeah,
without fail, unless I had no money.
yeah. Well, if I had no money, mate, I'd have to find a way.
Yeah, yeah, same. You just find money, don't you? Somehow,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah. Yeah, but that
I
was
mean,
what
like
kept me drinking.
I
Yeah.
can put my hand on my heart and say I've never robbed anything in my life, but you
Oh
know
mate, I would
that's
have robbed a
just.
drink.
I tell you
Great.
what I have, right? I used to like. Do you know what I used to take? I used to walk like when I remember when the smoking ban came in. There'd be people that go outside and leave their drinks in. I'd have a ciggy. I'd just walk in and be just like grab anything off any table.
Yeah, 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 yeah,
I'll be like, "What's this? Oh, vodka coke. All right, fair enough."
yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, fucking hell, minesweeping we call that.
Oh, brutal, man. Like,
Oh, that feeling gives me shivers. That the anxiety feeling.
yeah, awful, shocking. But then when you do get sober, I genuinely think it took me a year or more to let my ego settle into something that was healthy, or at least remove some of it. It was such an effort. It was such a mental exercise every night, because my routine when I got sober was to go home and lie on my bed. As I've said, I lived in Seville, so it was so hot. I mean, unbearably hot. The 6 months that I lived there before I got a try. I lived there for 9 months. First 4 months, just piss artistry of the highest order, and then the next 6 months, I would finish work and I'd just go and lie on my bed. And I started to use YouTube as a method to, maintain sobriety, sort my head out, philosophize everything, work out who I am. And those examinations were the most difficult thing I've ever done in my life, I think. Because you're basically analyzing your whole fucked up life, or adult life, let's say, because I had a nice childhood. But,
Yeah,
and it just, you don't know what anything means. You've been a shitbag. You don't want to be. It's been uncontrollable. So it takes time. People are like, oh, I'm 4 weeks sober and I'm bored, or I'm 4 weeks sober and nothing's better. It's like, well, maybe you're a dry drunk. Proper
and it keeps.
sobriety doesn't.
Yeah,
It requires gargantuan efforts, gargantuan deep explorations into your soul. And if you've got the
yeah,
bollocks to do that, you will get sober and stay sober, and
yeah,
you will turn your life around.
yeah. Like, I know that I haven't completed it yet. I don't know if you ever do fully complete it. Obviously, you'd know a lot more than me, and I know you definitely are a lot more comfortable with being sober than what I am. I'm not saying I haven't accepted it. I have, but you're still more comfortable with it than me.
But I know
Uh,
when I was 2 and a bit years sober, like you are now, I was still a bit.
yeah.
So I know where you're
So
at.
yeah, it still comes like don't the I never ever 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 want to drink. I don't have any cravings for a drink or nothing like that. But life does still test you being sober. Um I mean, I was saying to you, this fucking dating scene, mate, sober is is fucked. It is the most crazy thing. Like dating sober's hard, mate. And because there's no bullshit. Like I probably would have I would have had I would have had a great date with every date that I've had if I was drinking because I just would have been that chameleon, you know? I would have had a few drinks and I would have been that chameleon where I blended into whatever they wanted. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah, totally.
I don't know if that's just the salesman in me, but you just get that confidence and then you're like, not that I'm not confident now because I am confident, but I feel like you'll just adapt to the situation and the environment because you're drinking. Whereas now, because you're sober, you know what you want and what you don't want. So if you don't want it, it's this date's dead. Like
Yeah.
we don't have the same values, and that's fine. But I don't know. It's a bit fucking
Well, because most people drink, and those that go on dates use alcohol to loosen up, and if you're going there and you're not, your
yeah,
your strict set of principles, or your stricter set of principles than previously, um, those can't be compromised really, because you've done all this good work, and if you've done it right, which you have, you have to stick to your principles, and then the date straight away or after 20 minutes it becomes apparent that this person's not compatible with you on a spiritual or emotional level
Yeah, which is
or a
fine.
maturity level, and you're just like, right, I'm checking out mentally, just mentally
Yeah, yeah,
checked out.
yeah,
You're
yeah,
right though. Whereas before you'd been like, okay, I want to get this girl into bed. Who do
yeah,
I have to be?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Do you know what
And
I
then
mean? Let's be honest about it a
yeah,
lot of the time.
and then the second date, you again the same thing happens. The third date, the same thing happens. The fourth date, the same thing happens. Every time you see each other, you realise that you're drinking, and then you start seeing each other when you're sober, and you're like, "What the fuck?
Hmm.
Who is this person?"
Yeah.
Because that pissed version doesn't exist. It's not real. It's just temporary. Just comes out after a few drinks.
Yeah, it sounds like a minefield. Well, I say that I've dated sober for a number of years in Spain as a sober person, and how did I find it? I'm trying to think. I definitely walked away from a good number of Tinder or whatever dates earlier than I would have otherwise,
Yeah,
because I had the wherewithal to realise this hasn't got any legs, and what's the point if it's got no legs? But I think if you're drinking, your ego says, "Well, I'm here now. I might as well try and get laid," or you know what I mean?
yeah,
It's just a shit, ugly, false, fake facade, isn't it? The whole affair.
yeah,
And people will be like, "Oh, well, alcohol's real life. It's there. It is, but it's a mask." I don't envy you, mate. To be honest, trying to trying
but
to date sober at the
no,
moment.
no, no. Again, it's all ego, isn't it?
I think so. It
Going on
certainly
dates
seems like
being
it.
fucking this confident Jack the lad, fucking this, that, and the other. Like, it don't exist, man.
Like, can I ask you what have you done? Because for me, I've said it various times that YouTube and finding like medical experts, therapists online, and I don't mean for therapy, but famous therapists, famous psychologists. I just went for the jugular and sought them out, found the right ones that I liked, and I used them to batter my ego and try and rebuild myself. How have you done that? Like reading, or does running do that for you? Like, what's your? Because I think you're a very self-deprecating person. I've thought that since the first time we talked. I've never heard you once be like, "Oh, look at me." You're just not that type of person, and I
No.
love that. I absolutely love that about you.
Um,
You're the lowest maintenance friend that you could ever wish for, which is a real
cheers.
compliment, I think.
No, cheers.
I never worry about I've not replied quick enough, or because I know you're just easygoing.
Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah.
like with me, you're not easygoing because you've got anxiety and blah blah blah. But um, how were you like that before, or has the work you've done brought you to this point?
Um, so no, I wouldn't have been like that before because when I was obviously drinking and that, anxiety was fucking high like you said, in a constant state of stress. Very fucking needy as fuck, man. When sober. But I never tried to consciously work on an ego or anything like that. My thing was just to work on myself. So yeah, read books, and just only do things that would benefit me, or not. Sorry, that's the no. That sounds fucked. That's completely wrong. Only do things that would help me. So as I said, reading was a big thing for me. That was a huge eye opener. I'd never read a book before in my life apart from fucking Horrid Henry and Harry Potter maybe. Um, so a few books. I started a lot of not giving a fuck. that was a massive eye opener for me. It made me see life in a different way. Running was a huge thing and humbling. David Goggins' book, I'm never trying to compare to be him or anything like that, but a lot of things humbled me. And then I started to realise that all this hustle and bustle and noise that's going on outside of my life is irrelevant. I don't want nothing to do with it. So I just wanted to be in my own little bubble and make myself a better person.
Mm.
And I don't like this Instagram shit of being like, I'm this, I'm that. I appreciate and respect what I've done, and I do think it's amazing, and I'm proud of it. But I always think about how other people feel, and for me to be a good person, it's not by fucking showing off or anything like that.
Well, your Instagram, which is, you know, a vehicle for you to, you know, get interest for your coaching, you know, and to help people, is the least up your arse Instagram account I've ever seen in my life. I fucking love it. All right, everyone, I was a fat loser. Do you want to be not a fat loser anymore? This is how I
Yeah.
became less of a fat loser. Brilliant. I love it, man. And people see that in you, definitely, for sure, mate, for sure. Because not everybody
Um,
wants a, a a trainer that's, you know, those prick. Do you know Joey Swole?
yeah,
Yeah, and he's always calling out knobheads in the gym for acting like they own the world.
yeah,
Because
yeah, yeah.
there is something about transforming your physique, maybe different to your mindset, but transforming your physique can potentially, if it goes well, lead to a new kind of ego seeping in. You know, well, look at me now. Do you know how long it took me to get these abs? You know, all that kind of
Yeah,
crap. And
it's not for me.
you've managed to avoid that.
I
I
would
don't
never
think.
be that person, mate,
No, I
ever.
don't believe for a minute you would have been anyway. But you've become who you're supposed to be. Just a
Yeah, no, exactly.
self-deprecating good lad, you know, with
Yeah,
principles and morals that you live up to.
mate. Do you know what it is? Yeah, I just feel like, you know when you were saying about how every area in your life was absolutely obliterated when you was drinking, yeah, and then you had to, and then how like daunting it is to have to address every area of your life. We've Everyone who's had a problem with alcohol has done the same thing. So we've learnt so much about life, and we've seen life in such a deeper, meaningful way. And I know, I know now. I can look on people's Instagram. They might look like they're fucking flying, but I know deep down they're probably struggling, which is why they feel the need to flex their ego.
Hmm.
So I just rather be compassionate and be a real person than be fake. I think I've just learned a lot. I think I learned a lot about people, how they work, about the fucking, oh mate, it's just because your emotions come back, man. Like
Yeah,
I don't know. I'm just not a vain person. I'm very conscious that I don't want to come across as vain. It's not like, anyway. It's not like I'm a fucking model, like athlete or anything like that. Do you know what I mean? But
yeah, but I think that is the word, vanity. Like there is, I have never seen one shred of evidence of that you are vain. I love it.
it's awful, mate. I remember where I come from. I was in a right state. I was, mate, literally, I lived in a halfway house. I got evicted from a halfway house. I lived on my dad's sofa. I lived in my mates. I lived in my mates' sofa bed. Um, I've I've been so skint that I've not been able to eat. I've drunk beers for breakfast. I know exactly where I came from, and I could easily go back to being that person. Why am I gonna fucking give it the big one and be like, oh, look at me, blah blah blah. Oh, the rest of you are peasants. No, they're fucking struggling. I've been there. And I know life is tough. I will never be vain. People should just be nicer to each other. We live in the most fucked up world.
Yeah.
We live in a crazy world where it's like, whose Instagram's the best? Who's got the most followers? Who's doing this, that, and the other? You've got a big following because you've been straight up normal and to the point every time. You have never made it about you, like in a vain way. People will read through that. They will see through that and they will fucking hate it. Because you're doing it for yourself and no one else.
Yeah, that's it, isn't it? You know, the byproduct is that we are now able to help people, but ultimately we've both done it for ourselves and
They
just
use
for,
that
and it's not
using
for
that
selfish
platform.
reasons. Because
Nah.
if you do work on yourself, the good then emanates out and other people benefit from it. So many people have benefited in the last 10 years from my sobriety. So many. And that's not me blowing smoke up my arse, but with SoberNSound, and when I became a better teacher, young people with worries, able to, with clarity, talk to them, guide them. Do you know what I mean? I couldn't do that as a pisshead. So, you know, if you're listening, your sobriety will have a knock-on effect for the good of the world. It's a contribution, isn't it? It's a positive contribution to society.
100%. Think of all the thousands of people that you've helped with one reel. You've got reels that have got like what, 1 million views?
Yeah, a few, yeah.
Yeah, a few. Fucking ego.
Well, actually, I've got one that's 3.3 million, but I didn't want to sound like a knobhead.
You fucking vain twat. So yeah, think of how, mate. Think, yeah, if you had 1.3. Think if you were staring at 1.3 million people. That's more.
Craig, 3.3 million, thanks.
Oh fuck me. Jesus Christ. Right. Are you sure you still want to do this podcast with me? Because you're up here and I'm down here.
Yeah, you peasant cunt. But yeah, it's a lot of people. You know, even though when I've seen a reel recently where a guy does a thing about, oh, you think 1,000 people's not many views on your reel, and then you see 1,000 people, you're like, whoa, you know.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
again, it's fake. It's fake. You know, this has Instagram and social media has made us think that 1,000 people's not a lot of people. It's wild.
Yeah. Oh, mate, do you know what? Like, I love life. I really do love life, but I don't like the way the world is going. So I think it's very easy to just go with the fucking flow and just be another one.
Yeah.
Doing the same shit. And that probably doesn't make any sense to anyone. I know it makes sense in my fucked up mind, but
I know what you mean, man. I know what you mean.
There's a lot of people, basically, that will use their platform as an egotist, as a way to boost their ego. No doubt about it. They'll act like they're doing it for the clout. They're not trying to help no one. They're doing it to come across and look good for the girls. Blah blah blah. I'll post photos of myself looking absolutely fucked, horrible, passed out in the bush, fat as fuck, skin. And people are going to look at that and think, shit, I'm in the same position now, and he does look a lot better now. He looks like a human now.
Yeah.
And that's what it's about. I'm not just gonna fucking post photos of me like this, like, and be like, dude, fucking go and get it, pussies.
Look at my muscles.
Yeah.
No, you're right. You're absolutely right. It's
But we can be proud of where we've come from.
We can. That's a nice way to finish it. We can. You're absolutely right. You know where you came from. You know, you sent me a video of you throwing an egg at a wall the other day. Won't go into it much further, but and I looked at that and I saw myself in it, and I saw the former version of you in it, and that's a person that doesn't exist. That's a person that doesn't exist. You've eradicated that person through, you know, analysis of your ego and just desire to be better. So respect, bro.
Yeah, you too, man.
Word.
You fucking too.
Legends. Pair of fucking legends.
Fucking egotistical wankers.
Safe. We are at the Sober Stretch on Instagram. You can find us there. We are also on YouTube and Spotify. We promise one day we'll upload all the episodes to Apple. So the episodes come out at 3:00 on Sundays to help
We
you.
got paid on that.
one day when we're famous. Sunday 3:00 in the afternoon. The episodes come out. We hope you enjoy them. I am on at SoberNSound, Sober letter N sound, on Instagram. And Craig, you are on
Instagram at livewithoutlimits_coaching.
Nice. Safe. Well,
Sweet,
right,
man.
we did it. We went 59 minutes and we didn't mention Manchester United once. 4:30, don't forget, Spurs.
Yeah.
The two most
Whatever.
disappointing clubs in the country.
Yeah. I don't care anymore, mate. This
Mate,
season's done.
Yeah,
Done.
Europa League, that's all it is. Enjoy your 30k. I'm going to the aquarium to buy a filter, and then we're going to Aldi to get the weekly shop. Yay!
What, have you got fish or something?
We got a small tank with 7 tropical fish that was intended for my stepdaughter's birthday, but really Gabby's just taking it over now, and she got quite fond of them.
Yeah, nice.
I don't even look at it. I just think it's a nice light in the corner of the kitchen. I'm not asked.
Yeah, fair man.
Safe,
All
bro.
right, well, have a good one, bro.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
Adios. Bye-bye.
Peace.